This is the most important fight in the life of Karol Nawrocki, the battle for the office of President of Poland. It's not easy because from the very beginning opponents set out with a mission to destroy the citizens' candidate. Crowds gather at meetings with Nawrocki, and in the media there are more and more so-called scandals unfolding with the help of the services of the December 13th coalition. It has to be said that in a short period of time, only since the beginning of the election campaign, probably no one has seen as many investigations as Dr. Karol Nawrocki. We learn about another investigation to add to this collection from a statement from the Gdansk prosecutor's office. In the case of exceeding powers in the period from 18th of October 2017 to June 2024 in Gdansk by public officials, directors of the World War II Museum in Gdansk, by allowing the use of rooms and apartments at the World War II Museum. The mechanism in this case is remarkably apolitical to the point of ridiculousness. First, the revelations are described by Gazeta Wyborcza. Then there is a notice to the prosecutor's office from the Civic Coalition MP Roman Giertych. And finally, the actions of the investigators headed by Adam Bodnar. But there is one thing that brings resistance to such actions. It is Poles who are coming to the meetings with Karol Nawrocki in increasing numbers. I have to face the whole party machine, the party industry, the financial industry, the television industry, which is behind my main opponent. Thanks to the citizens, thanks to you, I can protect myself from the entire state apparatus brought against me. What's more, Karol Nawrocki, at a press conference and meetings with citizens, has repeatedly explained the matter. I did not stay 200 days in any apartment. I have invoices, transfers, and a number of proofs that I did not stay 200 days in one room. That's why the prosecutor's message must be strong, so that the most loyal fans of the December 13th coalition don't have any doubts. To conduct the investigation, the prosecutor entrusted the provincial police station in the Gdansk department for fighting corruption. The crime is punishable by imprisonment from 1 to 10 years. Many more lies will be told in this campaign. That's why it's important to keep an eye on the elections, because if Nawrocki's opponents are using the services to run a dirty campaign, then anything can be expected. But the problem with this whole game against Nawrocki, which the Polish people are not buying, is the passivity towards our own. At the same time, Trzaskowski, as president of Warsaw, and at the same time vice chairman of Civic Platform, spent 250 days on delegations. And for what? And the same media are not talking about it. At the same time, we learn that the services are unable to catch dangerous thugs. Thus, in such a situation, the solution for Tusk's environment is the so-called run to the front, that is, to multiply issues and publicize them to the point of pain. Again, the irony. Wyborcza reached the notice that the Supreme Audit Office filed with the prosecutor's office. It concerns the mismanaged spending of public funds in the amount of at least 15 million zloty by Karol Nawrocki and the Director General of the Institute of National Remembrance. So, right in the middle of a campaign from an apolitical individual, Marian Banash, in the pages of Wyborcza, we learn about the mismanagement of the head of the Institute of National Remembrance. You can't help but believe it. And yet people do not believe it. Proof, the Social Committee in support of Karol Nawrocki, already nearly 1,000 people strong. Doctors, athletes, scientists, artists and entrepreneurs. I know he is a good choice. It is our great privilege that we can choose freedom, independence and sovereignty by circling his name. It is his saying that we are Polish and have Polish duties that convinces me the most. I believe he can be, as a non-partisan candidate, the president of all Poles. By the same token, however, the slogan "Search till you find" in Nawrocki's case may yield results different from those expected. The political scene has already observed the overheating of the topic, because on the other side stands the thesis, no matter how, it is important that they speak, and the name is not twisted. In the United States, there was an attempt to destroy the Republican candidate. He has been brought to trial after trial, and he became president. It is worth mentioning that until he became a presidential candidate, Karol Nawrocki had no proceedings in the prosecutor's office. I am very sorry that the Polish prosecutor's office is used in such a vulgar way for political activities and actions of the Civic Platform and Tusk. This is the lowest democratic standard. Finally, please consider one more fact. Nawrocki has also been prosecuted by Russia for destroying Soviet propaganda monuments. Oh, and one more fact. The SS men withdrew from the lawsuit against the candidate. The attack from this side was apparently considered counterproductive. For Poland.
Volodymyr Zelensky may meet Donald Trump in the coming days. According to President Trump, an agreement on U.S. participation in the Ukrainian mining market could be signed. According to both sides, work is underway to iron out all the details of the deal, and all signs point to an eventual agreement. The mood here is clear. Ukrainian soldiers have a message for all diplomats. No one will force them to lay down their arms. They will do it voluntarily if the terms of peace are favorable. Only after we began to show that we were capable of defending ourselves at the beginning of the invasion did we begin to receive assistance. We are grateful to our partners for that, but if that changes now, we will not stop doing our job. After last week's exchange of diplomatic blows, mainly between Washington and Kyiv, the time has come for specifics. There are declarations of cooperation and mutual trust from both sides. Moreover, a meeting between the leaders of the United States and Ukraine may take place in the near future.
I will be meeting with President Zelensky. In fact, he may come in this week or next week to sign the agreement, and which would be nice. I'd love to meet him. Would meet at the Oval Office. So the agreement's being worked on now. They're very close to a final deal. It'll be a deal with rare earths and various other things.
It's an agreement that, on the one hand, is expected to allow the United States to recoup the money it has invested in helping Ukraine. On the other, it is to provide security guarantees for Kyiv. These 2 points have been discussed from the very beginning of the new U.S. administration's cooperation with Ukraine.
I want to be very honest with you. For our people, for life in general, it's so important that American support, American assistance remains.
According to alleged leaks, in the new version of the agreement, the United States will pledge to support Ukraine's sovereignty and security, as well as ensure lasting peace. In addition, America is expected to become one of the main investors in the country's reconstruction and gain access to Ukrainian rare earth deposits. Some analysts say it is like a new Marshall Plan, but based on business.
The American economy is highly dependent on Chinese sources, and it's an economic and national security risk. So, reason number one. Reason number two is that there are not so many American companies who are able to mine and produce rare earths within the US. Reason number two. And reason number three is that, there is Ukraine, and we have these commodities right there. And in order to avoid that the Chinese will take over Ukrainian rare earths commodities and build up potential mines there.
Very talented.
There are many geopolitical games being played around Ukraine by many different players. The American public has been wondering for months just what they are getting out of helping Ukraine. Today, the answer seems to be tangible economic benefits. The securing of American interest on Ukrainian territory will be equally unambiguous.
It's been 36 years since the Round Table, when the end of communism in Poland was negotiated. Yet, communist monuments still stand in some Polish cities. This is the case in Rzeszów, where the monument of gratitude to the Soviet army stands in the very centre of the city. A resolution to remove it from public space was passed by councillors back in 2018, but Rzeszów's left-wing authorities have yet to do anything about it. The issue returned at today's council meeting. The monument of gratitude to the Soviet army was erected in the centre of Rzeszów in 1951. For many years, the left-wing city authorities did everything they could to keep it intact. Neither the 2016 law on the prohibition of the propagation of communism nor 2 resolutions by councillors calling for the removal of the communist monument seem to work. Residents are asking us as councillors, what should we be grateful to the Red Army for? Today, councillors and Rzeszów residents heard the same thing from the city government that they always do. We are trying to find the best solution, which on the one hand will allow us to find financing for the removal of the monument, and on the other hand will preserve the artistic element in this monument, and third, which will allow for this place to gain a new character. What happened to the money that was received by the Board of Urban Greenery and intended for the demolition and relocation of this monument? There were more questions, and the answers, as always, were evasive. The City Hall says that it is in talks with the Rzeszów branch of the Institute of National Remembrance on the matter, and its director stresses that the Institute of National Remembrance can help financially, but the removal of the monument itself is the responsibility of the local government. As far as I know, and what I heard from the vice presidents, there is no willingness to move this monument. And the monument of gratitude to the Soviet army is passed by thousands of people every day, including Ukrainians. You see what this Russia is doing to Ukraine. It needs to be dismantled and something else put up. maybe to honour those who are helping and who once helped. Last year, the civic platform Subcarpathian Voivod, Teresa Kubas-Hull, agreed to move the monument to the municipal cemetery in the Victory neighbourhood. That is, the area where there are the remains of 3 soldiers of the Freedom and Independence Association and the Home Army, Poland's main underground military during the German occupation in World War II, and later enemies of the Soviets. Were we to move it there, we may violate the memory and dignity of those buried victims of the communist regime. Several months ago, the monument of gratitude to the Soviet army was symbolically packed for shipment by residents and addressed to the Kremlin.
A few years ago, an Egyptian entrepreneur created a design for boats that look like cars. With a budget of $50,000, he began production, modestly at first, a few units a year. Even our closest people don't believe that our products are fully Egyptian, made in Egypt, that they are all handmade, and that the raw materials we use are also locally sourced. Water cars are more like speedboats, shaped like famous luxury cars. However, you will not go crazy in them on the highway. We export to 70 countries, the largest of which are the United States, Canada, and European countries such as Spain, France, Greece, and Cyprus, basically all coastal countries. Currently, the price of one vehicle ranges from $20,000 to $40,000, depending on specifications. It takes 20 days to produce one vehicle. Of course, it's a good feeling to have a locally made car to swim in the Nile and in all our seas, the Red Sea and the Mediterranean. The small manufactory has grown into a large factory in Egypt's Giza, where it produces custom vehicles specifically tailored to customers' tastes. Most parts are produced locally. Only the engines are imported from Japan. The car has special specifications and a special color, as requested by one of our customers in America. Its manufacturing takes from 2 to 3 weeks, and of course each customer chooses the color and the shape and any special requests, both the interior and exterior. The company has already produced more than 950 cars, most of which have been exported overseas.